Hey everybody, I'm Jake from MakerPipe, and today I'm here with the owners.
Hi, I'm Kelly.
Hi, I'm Dave. We've been making connectors and building with electrical conduit since 2016. We've seen a lot of builds and had a lot of customers, which we totally appreciate. We get a lot of positive reviews as well, which we're very thankful for. But we also get some negative ones too, and I think there's something to learn from them.
So today I'm going to read some, and then they're going to respond to them, and we're going to go through and hopefully learn something from you guys and teach you some things too. So you guys want to get into it?
Let's go.
The first one we've got is a comment from a video a while back, and this is from Diabetic Life 3953, and they said, "Is that EMT pipe? Won't a rigid pipe be more stronger? Because EMT is not strong."
So yeah, rigid conduit is much stronger than EMT conduit, but we really picked this to base our whole connector system around because of the balance between strength and cost, which I think it provides a pretty good value.
And you can use rigid conduit with the connectors, but you do have to adapt the connectors. So you would have to go with a larger size since you're dealing with a different outside diameter, but you can definitely use other pipes depending on what your build is. Some people even want lighter. So, it all depends on what you're building.
And you can kind of mix and match. If there's a place in your build that you want something really strong, adapt it to have a thicker wall tubing like rigid conduit. And then other places where you don't need something as rigid, strong, use EMT conduit.
Next up is from Robert, and this says, "Not delivered. USPS is the worst. You need to provide better shipping options."
I think we should really say what we feel. They suck.
Okay.
They're horrible.
We totally agree, Robert.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Right? You can't run a business using USPS, our own post office.
USPS is incredibly frustrating to work with.
Yeah.
So we totally agree. We recently have made some changes, but originally we used USPS because it was the most economical to be able to get all your packages to you. We've since realized that it's just not worth the frustration and have made some changes. We're trying to send as much as we can via FedEx now. We do still have some that do have to go via the post office, but hopefully in the near future, we'll have some other options too. And we understand the frustration. Very familiar.
Yeah. 9 times out of 10, if you order from us now, it's going FedEx.
The next one is from Tim, and this was 2 years ago, and he said 1-inch brackets have been frustrating to work with. The nut will not lock in place when trying to tighten the screw. I've had to trash quite a few 1-inch brackets. The 3/4 inch are flawless.
Thanks for the feedback, Tim. The 1-inch, which was our most recent product launch, we made them out of a thicker steel to begin with, and we thought bigger connectors, they needed to be thicker steel. That changed kind of the flex characteristic and how they were pressed in the die. So we've gone ahead and changed that. The steel thickness is the same on the 3/4, which worked great, now on the 1-inch. So both are the same, and they have similar characteristics. So sorry about the trouble. I think we fixed that one with the thinner steel for the 1-inch.
And it also helps with the pocket to hold the nut with that steel change. So they're good now. So.
This one is from The Real McCoy 69. This isn't anything new. We've used this in the factory for years and years, and after a while, the joints get loose.
I worked in manufacturing and used other connector systems similar to this, so I'm definitely very familiar. What we wanted to do is kind of bring it to a more DIY, make it available for folks like yourself building at home. So that's what we think we brought to the equation. And what's interesting about it is because the connectors kind of have a little bit of spring in them, when you tighten them down, they actually act like a lock washer or something like that. So not to say they will never come apart or need tightening, but that spring in the steel, when you tighten it down with a nut and bolt, it adds a lot of tension on the hardware and really works against loosening up over time. So that's at least with our connectors. I don't know exactly about the experience you had, but we find that they stay together pretty good over time.
This next one is from Judy. This is 2 stars. I ordered 3/4 inch T connectors and 90-degree connectors from MakerPipe. First, the opening cannot fully close to hook/hold the 3/4 inch conduit.
We designed the connectors specifically for 3/4 inch EMT conduit. So if they're not fitting right, there's definitely something off there. We've got 3/4 inch conduit, and they're made to just wrap around like that. You'll get a little bit of a gap, but that'll close right up with when you tighten down the nut and bolt.
And the second part is the connector is too short. Since I want to connect the 10-foot piece of conduit, it might be better for shorter conduit.
Okay. So if you're trying to join two pieces, those aren't the right connectors. You can see that'll kind of saddle, the connector will saddle the two pieces, and it's just not enough area to make good contact and hold it strongly. So you want to check out like a 180-degree connector, a four-way, or a coupling.
Yeah, a coupling, yeah.
And the third part is I returned it back at my own shipping cost, but I have not gotten connected to get my refund back yet.
Our return policy is 30 days from the day of purchase. We do know that sometimes people get to their builds beyond that 30 days and just communicate with us if those connectors are not what you need. As long as they're unused, we will accept a return, and the return shipping is the responsibility of the customer. When it comes to that refund showing up in your account, some banks do take longer than others, and we're happy to try and help you through that.
The next one is from Thomas. It's a little long, but there's a lot of great feedback in here, which we appreciate. So the first part is Thomas said they're in the middle of a big project using MakerPipe for the first time. It would have been wise, they said, to use it on a small project, but go big or go home. They ordered over 700 different components to give an idea on the size of the project, and here's his critical feedback first. Number one, with so many components ordered, the parts came in a big box with no labeling on the shrink wrap components. It would have been easier to handle so many parts if the part halves were labeled what they were, so we could wrap our brains around what goes with what faster.
Yep, totally makes sense. The way we send connectors out is they're bundled like this and kind of nested. So you'll get, for instance, here's the 90-degree connector. You get two bundles of the outside and inside piece. Which they won't be labeled, which that's good feedback. Maybe we could label them in the future, but right now they're not. So great feedback.
The second thing is we ordered a few of the rubber feet, but like 10x what we ordered were in the box. Very strange, but whatever.
This happens from time to time. Just be aware, we do list how many items are within one pack. So with the feet, they come in packs of 4. With the one-hole straps, they come in pack of 4. With the end caps, they come in packs of 10. So just pay attention to those details in the description. It does happen from time to time, and we try to catch it, but sometimes we're not sure what people are building, so you might need, 700 feet.
And we'll definitely take them back if it's more than you needed.
The third part is all the components with puzzle interlocks need some tolerance adjustments. It's a little frustrating dealing with getting them just perfect so they will snap around the conduit. Sometimes we just change to a different connector, and it worked well.
So one of the things that we do on our connectors is we have this puzzle piece, and that's made to hinge the connectors around the pipe and get a really good grip. So building for the first time, one of the things you want to really pay attention is that you're assembling the puzzle piece first, and then you can insert the nut and bolt. So I have an idea that maybe the trouble was putting the nut and bolt first and then trying to put the pipe like that, which will be pretty cumbersome. But just remember, puzzle piece first, then nut and bolt, and it should be a lot easier.
The fourth part says, I wish there was a more positive method for insertion with a set depth for each connector. I felt like it was questionable how deep the conduit went into each fitting. This makes the cuts more difficult to get exact on an assembly where sides need to be the same length.
Okay, yeah. Good point. On the inside of the connector, you have this shoulder here, which can be ramped. So if you insert a pipe, you feel it catch, but it might slide up. So my recommendation is just, measure out by looking at it, the depth to that shoulder there on the inside, and then you'll have that measurement per connector. So just measure the individual connector to get that depth.
And Thomas finishes it off with some really positive feedback. He said, overall, though, the product is a game changer in so many ways for building out what you want. I'll post some completed photos when we get the sections installed, but so far, it's been a blessing to use these. So thanks so much, Thomas, for all that great feedback and for the positive feedback at the end there, too. We really appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, Thomas.
And I think that's all we've got for today. We really appreciate all the feedback, whether it's positive or not so great. We really appreciate hearing all the things that you guys enjoy and don't enjoy so much, so we can make improvements. And we always love hearing those things and seeing your builds and whatnot. So thanks, everybody, for all the positive reviews and the not so great ones, too. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'd say thanks, everybody, for the feedback, too. We're always here to answer those questions, so feel free to give us a call, email us, and reach out to us. We're definitely happy to answer those questions or concerns.